Hey everyone, has anyone ever come to you complaining that their stamina is low or their positive attitude has completely been negative lately? This has happened plenty of times to me and to those around me. The first thing I learned in my practice is the importance to consider the environment we're in. Our external environment plays a huge role in our mental state. This isn't exactly news to anyone, and our environment is usually one of the biggest factors to kill enthusiasm and peace of mind. Let me start quickly with my own experience before I jump into sexuality with this one. I had two bosses that I mentioned previously, and Allah ysamahum, they were really a piece of work. One of them made it impossible for me to come into work every day and not feel inadequate. It reached a point where I went to one of my friends one night in tears telling her that I feel unworthy to hold the brand manager title I had. And after a glass of wine and a few cigarettes, we went over my scope of work and deliverables. And it was only then that I started to feel better. I was actually meeting all of my KPIs. In fact, I was over-delivering. And she asked, then what is the freaking problem here? And I realized that it didn't matter what I did. My boss was not happy with anything I did. And I understood only then that there was a big chance that if I bought him the moon down from the sky, he would still not find that enough. This was one example of my environment completely killing it for me. And the thing is with work is that you can't feel inadequate, bullied, and miserable there, and at the same time disconnect the minute you leave and live a beautiful, happy life. Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, shit, I'm gonna have to be back there soon. And it starts to feel like a cold fist is sitting in your stomach. Recently, after many years of leaving that job, and having other stressful jobs and horrible, difficult clients, that this cold fist sitting in my stomach is actually called chronic stress. And if you aren't careful, it can turn into illness that will force you to take care of it and will put your life on hold. But that illness that I battled is for another episode. I started to navigate the environment my clients work in and live in when they come to me and talk about sexual dysfunctions and sexual stamina. I'll give you an example about sexual dysfunctions. Can you feel completely in your element and completely turned on when you have a partner at home who is continuously criticizing you? Does your criticism make you feel hot and horny for them? Or does it turn you off and make you want to be anywhere but vulnerable and intimate with them? These are some of the things I look at now when sexual dysfunctions are discussed. Of course, this isn't always the case, but feeling good at home, in your space, helps you own who you are, especially when your partner is supportive and equal, and also gives you the space to be yourself and self-develop. And of course, you reciprocate those things with your partner. What this does is that it builds confidence that boosts your sex drive, and you just feel good about yourself and in your element, which is sexy, and both individuals in the partnership end up indulging in amazing quality time together. The opposite is also true. When you have an abusive partner who is constantly either criticizing you or ignoring you, or just not available in that partnership, come on, how can you be intimate and feel good and be in your element with someone who is just not there? But what happens if you're single but still feel off and not on top of your game? If you're single, a student, and living at home with your parents, and you're in constant stress because your parents are always fighting, or if one of them is verbally, physically, mentally, or sexually abusive, then as an individual, it will be very hard for you to focus, to be goal-oriented, and achieve those goals and be at your best and even in your own element. Gender inequality in workspaces is also an environment-sick example. If you have two genders doing the same role, and the female is always doing most of the work and responsibilities while the male does so much less and still gets credited more, paid more, and gets promoted easier, that is a killer for motivation. We are in 2022, and till today we still live in a culture that makes fun of women who wear the hijab but have dreams to sing, even if these women have incredible voices that would give you goosebumps. We still live in a world that offers more privilege to women and men from different classes and religions and sexual orientations. This means that certain classes will receive more education and more work opportunities, and people from certain religions will be prioritized in certain places, and those with different sexual orientations will be offered very little housing support, health insurance, and other opportunities offered to heterosexual folks. We still live in a world where brothers feel entitled to make decisions for their sisters and grant them approvals to go out, study, drive. And sometimes these families allow male cousins to have a say over their female cousins, who are not even their wives. And in 2022, parents still feel entitled over who they marry their daughters to and who they marry their sons to, when in reality, sexuality is an entitlement of the self and only the self. We all know right from wrong, but we also know مجتمعنا. بالله كيف حنغير رأيهم? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that if we work on ourselves, we do have a better chance of setting an example للجيل تبعنا واللي جاي. Who knows? But before we assume that there is an issue with us, regardless if it's emotional, physical, mental, or sexual, it's good to evaluate our home and our health and our work environment. And I guarantee that there will be times where the environment that we are in is environment sick and not us. Thank you for hanging out. Be kind and see you next time.